Hey, welcome into Winning Edge Football. This is your host, Zach Wynn. I got Jordan and I got Dan on the mic. We are back again. We're going to react to week 2 of college football. We're going to talk a little bit about player of the week, who was the standout guys, kicking ass, taking names. College football top 10. We will react to the AP top 10, like I said, top 25. Also, we'll get into the week 3 games to watch, as there is a few good ones. Dan, how the hell are you, buddy?
Fantastic. I'm still riding the high of the weekend and the high of last week.
As you should.
Yes, you definitely deserve to have that. And yeah, both your squads won this week. Jordan, how are you feeling? How you doing?
Overall, fine. It was a sketchy, I think, not just for our teams in general, but across the board. Like there was so many teams that you thought were just going to blow it out that were just so close games. Alabama struggled. I mean, Penn State struggled. We'll get to Notre Dame. But yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm personally doing all right. I don't think I'm ever going to watch any NFL games anymore after week 1.
Yeah,
after the Giants
rough. Pretty rough.
And Danny Dimes kind of showed what he was, but we'll get into all that. So
I already retired from fantasy football.
I'm real close, dude. I'm right there with you.
I'm in Ross St. Brown and Chris Olave got me 7 combined points.
Hey,
my gosh,
you gotta get Barkley, man. What a player he is.
I got a whole thing.
So speaking of blowouts, let's get right into Texas taking care of Michigan in the big house.
See you later.
We all kind of thought this was going to happen. I believe we're all kind of on the same page with that. Texas looked like a legit team. What's you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, handle it, Dan. Let them know.
I mean, I don't even know why we're starting with that. That wasn't the real game of the week. But, I mean, Longhorns, you know?
Yeah.
You got to hook them horns. I mean, no, Michigan is they lost a lot of people from their championship team last year. They've got, their sign stealer gone, so obviously they can't, steal signs. It's been a huge issue for them, obviously, because that makes or breaks everything. But no, I just think that they're gonna struggle. They've got new players in pretty big key positions where they've had leadership in the past, like last year. They don't have now. I don't know, Texas, again, they look good, but like kind of even referencing to what you said with the NFL, I feel like any given week right now, that could change on a dime. This is a wild season already. Both tiers of football for these first few weeks.
Yeah, I can kind of echo that, but I don't feel so confused about Texas. I think, to be honest with you, the top 3, and we'll get into it, but like top 3 is almost 1A, 1B, and 1C, right? All 3 of those teams could just be number 1, and I'd be okay with it. So Texas being a part of that, I think absolutely makes sense. Yeah, dude, I think Texas belongs. I know Michigan's going through some heartbreaks from losing people, but then also I didn't think it would be, and it's one game. We'll give them the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's kind of the story of this week, but we'll see what Michigan actually does with this, because that Texas team came in and it looked worse than 31-12. You know what I mean? So, and that's even a big difference. So we'll see what happens. But Michigan's got a lot of stuff to figure out.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, Texas went in there, like you said. I don't really have any questions about it. Or confusion. They flexed their muscles and shown that hey, C. Sarkisian has built an SEC team. They've been working towards that right now, and they look every bit of it. Michigan, obviously, we guys both touched on, lost a lot of players, and they got a new coordinator, the defense coordinator. So it takes a while to get things to merge up, right? So it takes a little bit.
Texas also built for the future, with Arch Manning. Like, I mean, what are we doing? Quinn Ewers comes in, he's doing his thing, and then it's not even like, oh, we got to recruit or we got to attack the transfer portal. It's like, no, you're locked and loaded. Your starter is set for next year, which has got to feel good, right? And that's how you continue that success. And that just that stuff that Texas has been used to. We're used to seeing them in the past. That stuff you get from Alabama and Georgia now and Ohio State. Texas hopefully can join that conversation and just being that consistently good top 5 team, across the board.
Absolutely. Going to a little lesser of a actually matchup, just because all the hype was at the big house. was Illinois and Kansas. Number 19 Kansas comes into Illinois, and the Fighting Illini actually traveling consultant over here, Illinois scout himself, Dan Gallagher. Go ahead and give us a breakdown on that game and what were your thoughts. And
well, first of all, I'll just tell you that the spirit in the locker room after the game was amazing. You know, I was in there. No, but I'm gonna. My first thing is all the hype was in the big house. Clearly, you didn't see it was the first sold out game in Champaign in 8 years. There was plenty of hype.
Tough.
You know what, Jordan? Hush. But there was sold out for good reason.
I fit four of your stadiums in this one. But anyways, go ahead.
You know what? This is all going to get settled coming up here in about 18 days.
I will just say though that, but Zach, you and I both had it wrong. I think we both called that as one of the blowouts, right? We did, if I'm not mistaken. We recorded. We said that was going to be one of our blowouts.
You absolutely did.
And I don't know if Jalen Daniels, I think his name is, the quarterback at Kansas.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden, yeah. So he didn't look nearly as impressive as I expected to, which is fine. And that could just be where either credit to them or credit to more so Illinois. But it's a good win regardless. I think it's a fantastic win for the program. What I want to see from Illinois, though, and I think we've done this before, Dan, you and I have had these conversations in the past where they start strong, right? And then falter the rest of the year. So I would love to see them consistently kind of build this throughout the season and not just go 6-0 and then 0-6. You know what I mean?
I mean, you just ruined it now. You had to say it. I mean, just trying not to focus on that. But no, your first thing is the Illinois defense, right? So they shut out what was a pretty low tier opponent the first game, but
they handled their business.
Yeah, 3 interceptions off of Kansas's quarter. I mean, the defense. It's kind of the theme of the state of Illinois for their teams across all of football was the defense kept them in the games. You know, it wasn't like a banner day necessarily for Luke Altmaier. I mean, no interceptions, but also no touchdowns, under 200 passing yards. And he
managed the game is really what he did.
Yeah,
right?
And their starting running back, Caden Fegan. I mean, went from a good game last week to 40 yards on 16 carries. He went from like averaging almost 8 yards a carry to 2.5. Defense definitely kept them in the game, but at the end of the day, W is a W. I was right. You guys were wrong.
Very right. Very correct.
And right now in Illini land, it's fantastic. And Jordan, we're trying not to focus on the inevitable precipice that we're going to fall off of because it's just how it happens.
Yeah, and it is what it is. You can't expect to go like, oh, I can tell from 2 weeks in we're going to go 12-0 or whatever. So
yeah, no, I agree with Dan. Defense was amazing. They looked like a Big Ten defense. I was really impressed with that. The possession. I mean, it was 30 minutes and 38 seconds for Illinois and 29 and 22 seconds for Kansas. So obviously it showed on the scoreboard it was a close ball game. The biggest factor, though, Kansas 4 interceptions, 4 turnovers. Illinois was able to take care of the ball and not turn it over. Although they only had 271 offensive yards. I mean, shoot, you got 3 extra possessions there. Yep. So that definitely helps if they can continue doing that in the Big Ten. I can see them not racking up like crazy wins, but definitely some quality wins down the stretch.
I agree. Be crazy.
All right.
We'll see.
So then let's stick with the Big Ten. Game that I was looking forward to, I think Dan and I both kind of had it on our watch list, was Nebraska. Colorado going to Nebraska. I mean, good God, did you see that game and how Lincoln, that place was jumping. So first takeaway I have with that is there's a huge talent gap and it got exposed. The D-line, O-line for Colorado just cannot compete with these teams. And I don't know. I think Nebraska is very well coached, and they proved it on Saturday. So
I think Nebraska's back, dude. I think
and football's so good when Nebraska's back.
I think Nebraska is back, and it's been a long time, right? They've had their time probably in the top 25 from here and there, falter in and out. You know what I mean? But Raiola looking fantastic, looking good, which is crazy for how young that dude is. Matt Rule's he's gonna build that program. He's a program builder. So we'll see. As far as Colorado, I had a gut feeling lot of show and no kind of real meat to the or evidence of that they're going to be elite, or even that Sanders or any of them are. Travis Hunter, I think, is a different beast, but if you're running for your life most of the game, you're gonna have a hard time, right? And that's kind of what he did. And he even echoed that in the interview, saying, how many times was Raiola touched, or was their quarterback touched? He echoed that and said that. Granted, I don't agree with
I don't
saying
like
that.
that, saying
Yeah,
that shit out loud. It's
no,
fucking
that's
game
not
2.
something for the people protecting you. That you don't say that. You thought it was bad. Wait till somebody gives a blindside block up, and you're facing the dirt, right? So, I don't know. Colorado 1-2, or not 0-2. 0-2, 1-1. They squeaked out the week 1. That's right. So I don't know. I don't expect much from them. But Nebraska, on the other hand, I think is on the up and up, and that we'll just see year after year what they can do.
And honestly, a lot of dog no bark, like you said. And I'm looking through the schedule right now. So this week they got Colorado State, then they got Baylor at home, then they go to UCF, then they have Kansas State at home, ranked opponent. Arizona they got to go to, ranked opponent. Cincinnati, which is no slump. Texas Tech, which has been winning games. Number 12 Utah, Kansas, and then finish the year with number 13 Oklahoma State. Like, I don't see a game that they're going to win, honestly. If anything, they squeak out a Colorado State win this weekend.
For sure.
But I don't know where they're going to get these wins from that Coach Prime's talking about, and especially with his son Silo getting injured. He'll be out 1 to 2 weeks with that arm situation. So it sucks. It sucks.
Yep. We'll see.
No bueno. Let's see. Let's move on to Tennessee. Holy cow. So the SEC right now, in the top 10, they have 6 teams in the SEC's in the top 10.
It's wild.
3 that are from the Big Ten and 1 from the ACC. So obviously they're flexing their muscles right now. And Tennessee looked freaking good, man. Defense, offense, and it didn't matter. Like, they just performed. Even special teams.
Yeah.
Holy cow. They moved up in the top 10 and deserve it.
I'm hoping it's indicative of their talent and not the lack of for NC State. Maybe we overinflated their talent and who they actually are. But I feel like Tennessee has always been there. They were there the last couple of years, right? Where then they lose the big ones. Kind of like, I'm very familiar with that case of losing the 2 big games of the year. So it'll be nice to see if they can get over that hump. I'm not sure on their schedule right now, but even just being in the SEC is tough altogether. So we'll see if they can keep it up.
Their schedule's not very easy at the end of the road there. Yeah. So
once they start conference play, man, I bet.
Yeah. Anything from you, Daniel? What do you think about Tennessee? What do you think about the Vols?
Come on, old Rocky Top,
That's what I'm talking about. Come on. I like it.
No, it's one of those. I was just gonna say, it's one of those things where, as a Big Ten, maybe it's as a Big Ten person, or whatever. When Alabama was in their stretch, like, the one bad side to all this SEC success is I get so sick of hearing about the SEC. It's a conference. It's all the SEC homers who are like, best thing in college football. It's great. When it's good, it's good. Yeah, that's true. But when they're on top, it's like everybody, and even a lot of the general national media, whatever, it's like they forget there's other quality conferences with quality teams in it. So that's the only downside is I can already feel like if this continues, we're going to hear all the SEC is back and they're the best thing and no Big Ten team can come down here. All the crap that you hear, your Paul Feinbaums, your people, like, that's the only downside is I get a little tired of, like, when they get a little success, like, it is the story in college football. And it's granted, yeah, they're successful, but it's like, we've seen that it's not always going to be that case year after year. That's the only downside.
Well, I mean, it's the proof's in the pudding, right? So, like, SEC is always there, and that's the thing is, if it's not Alabama, in the top 10
right now.
Yeah, if it's not Alabama, it's now Georgia, right? So, in adding Texas to the SEC is nuts. Is fucking nuts, especially how they look now. So, I mean, the SEC, and you've heard recruits coming out, and this is probably accurate across the board, but the SEC is as close as you're going to get to the NFL, but even then it's night and day, right? So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. The SEC always represents, it seems like, in the top 10 heavily. Big Ten has always done that as well, but then faltered towards the end, and they have one representative in the college football playoff. Now that it's 12 teams, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what that looks like. So
yeah, definitely a 2-loss SEC team, probably 2 two-loss SEC teams are going to be in the college football playoffs.
There's a big chance of that, for sure.
Which leads me to Notre Dame shitting the bed, right? 28-point favorite at home, getting beat by a MAC school. We'll just put it right here, right now. The playoff chances for Notre Dame is over. I don't think we have any chance whatsoever at all to get into the playoffs. Only thing we can possibly bank on is freaking USC being a top 5 team at the end of the year, and that's all we can bank on.
I almost wish that you guys had a conference, right?
Exactly. Yep.
There's a reason I wore black today. I'm just saying, it's a funeral procession going on around here.
Yep.
Those chances are it seems long gone, man. But just like Colorado, I wanted to kind of almost mention this earlier, but I don't want to jump to Notre Dame too soon. But the same way we feel about Colorado when you look at their schedule, you're like, I don't know. Now that I thought we're going to be easy wins, you look at them, you're like, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. But the year this happened last year, Marshall, right? So they turned that around, right? And they were up there at the end of the season. Like it can happen, but it is also very, very difficult to look at this. So
so then that's why I lead right into this, right? We just talked about 6 teams in the SEC. 2 lost teams are going to be in there. Even from the Big Ten, 2 lost teams is going to be in there. So once you start calculating all these things up, we're going to start running out of teams put in there. Because I think if Boise State wins their conference, I think they're the 5th seed moving into the playoffs and things like that. So like a lot of things can happen, and it's not in the Notre Dame favor whatsoever. Yep. And it's another thing that pissed me off about Notre Dame. Riley Leonard gets hurt, has a non-throwing shoulder injury against NIU, but will start against Purdue. And that's the fucking problem, Notre Dame. You get him because you think he's an elite runner, elite athlete, right? Which he is. He did all right, whatever.
Can be.
You got to throw the ball. And my biggest problem with this is if he's injured, you got 3 dudes on the bench. Steve Angelia, whatever. You got freaking CJ Carr. And you got, what's the other guy? Minster, not Minster.
Gardner
damn it.
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
No, not Minshew. I miss Minshew. Hell.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, McKinney or whatever. All 3 of them guys.
Talent.
You got talent on the board. Just let them play. It's Purdue. Okay, we're already. They can't think like this. Obviously, they can't think the season's already over. But the season's pretty much freaking canned, if not. So you're gonna put a quarterback out there that has an injury that you're gonna use in the run game because that's Denbrock's situation. That's how he likes it. And I don't know. Purdue's coming off two bye weeks in a row. They had 2 weeks to watch Notre Dame fucking unravel. They're going to be coming out hot and ready to roll. So it's not going to be an easy test over at freaking Lafayette.
I think here's my take, and maybe Riley Leonard did so well against Notre Dame last year, right? When they played each other at Duke. What a game, by the way. Holy shit. But I don't feel like Riley Leonard is playing Riley Leonard's game, right? They're not using. So if you have an athlete like that, you can't ask him to be Tom Brady, Joe Montana, those dudes that just sit in the pocket and throw. That's not what he does. Yes, probably off of play action more than anything. But if you're asking him to do too much, that it's got to be like quick read routes. It has to be, a play action here, a read option here, like that kind of stuff. Seems to be his cup of tea. He's not Sam Hartman, right? Sam Hartman was more pocket Sam presence. Hartman. Well, yeah, with that hair and that beard, man.
Beautiful man.
He's like fucking Maui from Moana, man. The hair, the bob.
Dude. He's like sunshine from Remember the Titans.
Beautiful.
But I feel like you get Riley Leonard to play his game, and I know they brought in the guy from Duke, did they not? The coach?
No. We got the offensive coordinator from LSU that had Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. So we have that talent. So he's trying to run that offense.
And he doesn't have that here.
Leonard is not yet. Right. It's first season of offense coordinator. Yeah. My thing is Jeremiah Love scored an amazing touchdown in the third quarter and then had 1 fucking carry after that. From the third quarter all the way into the last drive of the game. 1 carry. What are we doing? We're down by 3. Well, hell, at that point we're leading. So run the football. Not with your quarterback. Run the football, and then let him do the play action. Stick it in his gut, pull it out, and dump it over top to your 2 damn good tight ends or 2 receivers that we got from transfer portal. Like, what are we doing? Like, just blows my mind every fucking year, man. I love it. every year. Sorry for my
Yeah.
mouth. My language gets excited because
That's why you guys are up there with the Cowboys and the Cubs. I told you.
Honestly, and I was thinking about this all weekend long, and because you've been mentioning it, I'm like, damn, we are the fucking Cowboys. We will flex our muscles in regular season. What's up? How we doing? Oh, time to eat. Oh shit, I'm actually full a little bit. I don't want to play no more.
And then you have the Romo. Then you pull a Romo holding the place kick.
Yeah. But getting off Notre Dame because I can sit here all night and get mad about it. To wrap it up, the last game of the evening was Boise State going to Oregon. And that was a freaking good ball game. I fell asleep in the third quarter. It was about midnight. I woke up and watched the fourth. But holy crap, man, Boise State had them on the rails. They don't look too shabby. And we'll get into standout player of the week because he was a huge factor in this ball game. I don't know. So what's going on with Oregon, guys? What is our thoughts? Are we? Obviously, we can't sell the stock, right? Week 2,
right?
Week 3 now.
Still 2-0.
We can't sell. Yeah, we can't sell the stock, but we need to see some improvements. I think.
Dude, it's not the team you saw last year for sure.
No, and their quarterback's playing good. His quarterback's playing damn good.
18 of 21 again. Minimal
7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Right,
like what is the issue?
And this is, I think it looks worse than it actually is, right? People are panicking a little bit, but I don't think
for sure.
Boise State's a good team. So that one shouldn't be that shouldn't be a surprise that it was close. Quarterback's playing well. The team is playing well. I think the defense is struggling a little bit, but I think overall it's not time to hit the panic button. We'll let them get into their groove. Again, this is just the sign of the transfer portal at it, what it does, right? You only have these guys for 1 year, potentially. Same thing with Riley Leonard. He came in. It's like you expect them to turn around because he's talented, but that doesn't necessarily always translate, right? Especially when you're bringing in new coaches, new players all the time. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I can't panic on Oregon. I think they're going to get it together. They usually do. Well-coached team. That coach is one of my favorites.
I agree.
In college football. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not hitting the panic button. I don't even think I'm probably less concerned going into after this week than I was the previous week. So I think they're going to be fine and do just okay.
Yeah, they got a good test Saturday, so we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Dan, you Big Ten guy. So what's going on in Oregon? Are you selling it?
We've got no. I think we've talked about it. Like the quarterback, like I said, 18 to 21. He's got no interceptions of the season. So when he has the ball, 9. You got basically the majority of the time when he's throwing the ball, there's a value to it, right? Like it's not like, oh, I got 300 yards, but it was on 10 of 60 or whatever. Like some of these crazy things. Like he's efficient with the passes. He puts them where they need to be. They're even the running game this year. The one guy, I can't remember his name now. Their running back, he had like 100 and some yards on 12 carries. Like they're being efficient with the ball. And that's why I think kind of Jordan alluded to. It's weird that the score, like you look at the stats and the score and they don't seem like they would match up together. And I think it points, like he said, a little bit to the defense, right? Oregon's putting the points on the board. They're just not stopping their opponents from doing the exact same thing. And when you play a team like Boise State with their creative character and running back, like it's
no doubt.
It's hard not to keep that close. I'm not ready to sell them yet. Like I said, it'll be the true test is going to be, can they run their slate of conference opponents?
Yes, that's going to be huge. Yeah, because they got to go to Ohio State this year, so they got to play.
Because let's be fair, like with Washington, they have years where they're good, but Washington is not like I would say like an annual huge powerhouse school, like historically, like when you look at it. So when they weren't always great, like in the Pac-12 or whatever, like Oregon had a lot of years where like they could run the Pac-12 easily because they were the only real good team. I mean, good even being objective. So like that gave them, a certain level of like, we already know we're going to get to this point in the postseason because we're like the team in this conference. Now they're in a conference where there's some more parity between teams, and that's going to be, I think, a test for them.
I like it. Good take.
I know you want. I know we want to jump. I know we want to jump, but I got to talk. I got to talk about this place behind me. Okay. So,
oh Lord, yeah, let's talk about.
We talked about not so happy valley right now.
No, I think I've had more time to think about it. I watched the game. It was a tale of two halves, pretty much.
Yes.
The first half, you're like, oh shit, is this actually going to happen? Second half, you're like, okay, it's not going to happen. I don't think it ever was going to happen. Second half, they turned it on, right? 81 total yards allowed in the second half versus I think 200 and something, 290 in the first half, right? So tale of two halves for me. The only issue I have is with the defense. Defense didn't show up. We had 0 sacks. We did have 2 interceptions, but so it's not, and I say we in the loosest terms ever, but like Drew Aller threw for 200 yards, kept the ball, it was fine. But we had both of our stud running backs, Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, both have over 100 yards. Both averaged, I think Katron Allen averaged like 7.2 yards a carry, which is nuts.
Yeah,
and then
that's
awesome. You think that's good. Nicholas Singleton was 9.4 yards per carry. So like both ran the ball for over 100 yards. Was it scary going into halftime? Oh yeah. But coming out of halftime, you're like, okay, now we're back to what we normally do and back to running the ball like they do. It's Penn State football. They've always done that. They've always been that way. So I'm not as concerned as I was watching that game. Especially when you look at the stats and those kind of things. So not a whole lot of concern coming out of there. Holy shit, though. Tyler Warren, tight end from there, is a fucking stud. God Dude. Bless America as that man. He's just so good. 137 yards, 11 receptions on the day, like in a touchdown. That's crazy. Those are good stats. I don't care who you ask. So yeah, not a ton of concern coming out of this place. We'll have to see though. The schedule does pick up. They got a bye this week, so nothing to worry about there. I can relax a little bit and not watch any football because I'm not watching the Giants. I'm just done with that. But yeah, so we're we're good there. But too many scary games. Too many scary games, right? That shouldn't have been scary games.
Exactly. And now hell, Penn State's gone through this. Now they got film to learn on, right? What happens when we don't come out of the locker room prepared and ready to play football?
Right.
And this is kind of the difference that I get upset at is, okay, Notre Dame did the same thing Penn State did. They laid a fucking egg, right? We're not playing good football. But why the hell could we not make an adjustments? Like you said, second half, they only had 80-some yards of total offense, for Bowling Green. So obviously they made an adjustment. They stepped it up and they said, shit, we cannot lose. So that's the kind of mentality I need out of Notre Dame.
Back to Notre Dame. I had a buddy of mine, shout out to John, but he came, he was telling me that you see these games like on Notre Dame's schedule, Northern Illinois, right? You think and you're like, okay, you see these other schools beat the shit out of schools like 56-0. And he got me thinking, when's the last time Notre Dame put up points that they should on like a team like that, right? And I can't remember for the life of me. Maybe they have in the past, and I'm sure they have.
Navy in Dublin, first game of the year last year, it was 56-3.
Okay.
So it started the season off, and then we did it to Miami, Ohio, and like 2 weeks after or whatever. So it was looking good, right? So
right. Gotcha.
Yes, but I understand what you're saying because it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
every time we play Ball State, every time we play Wake Forest, every time we play these teams, my butthole's puckering so damn hard that I'm not going to shit for a month.
Yeah,
I'm so nervous. I'm like, we should be dominating these teams, kind of like Miami. Like look what Miami did. Florida A&M, they should have dominated that game. The score, 56-9. Even Florida, Florida's been down and out. They dominated them. Like they're playing Ball State this week.
Even Illinois did it. They blanked a team 45-0. That was a subpar opponent.
You have to dominate these games, otherwise it's college football. Literally, it's almost like you said earlier, Dan. Sunday, any given Sunday, man. So any given game day, your ass could be on the line. And now look at Notre Dame.
I'm going to parse into it real quick, just because as somebody who's not a big fan of Notre Dame. Like you talk about they put up those points against Navy. That's one of those games where I look at the crazy thing is with Navy, with those military academies, those guys are in the military, which means you're playing a team where you can't have 350-pound linemen. Like they have weight, so you have a team that's already at a disadvantage in that they have more restrictions in some ways than any other college team. So it's like you should be putting up those points, and they still beat them some years. You know what I mean? That consistency thing. You can't even beat the teams that have they're kind of coming into the game with an extra arm handcuff behind their back in some respects. You should be dominating them in an almost embarrassing fashion because you guys have a wealth of money, to invest in your program, in your recruiting, in your equipment, in your everything, like, and you're a well-known brand or whatever, and it's like, and you still find a way to not kind of hit that expected ceiling or that expectation.
Yeah, I mean, here, let's a good example right here. IU, not even they're like Purdue, right? They're kind of bottom of the Big Ten. They sit down there. They play FIU the first game 31-7. Like they're taking care of business. I mean, Western Illinois is an FCS team, 77-3, but they're taking care of business when the business needs to be taken care of. On teams they know they can dominate and go in there, execute the game plan, and roll. And that's where I get so frustrated. So we'll get off the frustrated train and let's get a positive outlook, right? Let's see what the positives were over here week 2. Standout player of the week. Dan, we'll start with you because I know you're alumni. Oh, I can't even say it right. Your squad played good, and I want to see how many players you put on the standout player of the week board.
Well, then see, you already guessed it right here. So for me, my I can hear the laugh. No, my standout player of the week is honestly for me, it's the defense as a whole. Their defense as a whole.
I can respect that, Dan.
It's again, and you could. It's hard because I look at them. I look at Northern Illinois. Like I look across some game, like you look into the NFL. Like there was a lot of games where offenses, whether they were expected to be high flying, point putting it, whatever. Like there was a lot of games where the defense, whether it was expected or not, whether it was considered a good defense or not, like going into the week, bailed or held teams from those losses. That was where I was torn because both NIU and Illinois, like their defenses kept them in the game. They won them those games ultimately, because like with NIU, like they didn't put up a ton of points, right? So you have to. The only way you win that is you hold that team to even less points. And Illinois, like going into later in part of the game, like they needed their defense to make those stands to give them the chance because they weren't coming out of the gate blazing. So I kind of want to. I went with Illinois just because I'm Illinois, but I was torn. Like you could put either the Illinois or the NIU defense, I think, as a whole in there.
There you go. I like it. I kind of figured that's where that was going, but I can respect that. Honestly,
such a homer fucking answer. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I remember hearing this last week, and then look where we're sitting now, right? I'm right, you're wrong.
I'll be honest with you. I am so excited for the end of this season to be like, oh, fucking Illinois, 2-10, and you're like, oh, I don't know what happened.
They're gonna go 500. And they're gonna play in the Who Gives a Fuck Bowl on whatever day, sponsored by some fucking car wash company. All right, I know that. Let me enjoy the moment while it's here.
Do it and enjoy it, but don't just. But here's the thing. There's some standout players, and then there's the rest of the Illinois teams. You know what I mean? So like they play good as a collective whole, but you can't be like this guy's good. And that's
fine. But that's also the thing is, if I had to pick a player, I already know that it's going to be probably said by one of the other guys, and it would be the running back from Boise State. Again, he put up fucking Madden created character numbers.
Yeah, dude.
Against 3 rushing touchdowns, 192 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. Longest rush is 70 yards.
Because I knew that he was already on somebody's list, so I tried to go outside of the box.
That's fair. I'm just giving you shit. I just give him shit because I love to do it. It's my favorite thing.
It's so much fun.
So
this one is and we can hold on to stuff all we want. I cannot
85.
How many was it? 18 days you said? Is that what you told me? Until Illinois plays Penn State? Is that what you said? Oh my god, I can't wait.
Till they beat Penn State.
We're getting together for that.
Till they beat
probably be a noon game, which I hate.
Also, if they don't, I'll probably leave silently at halftime and not respond to anybody for the rest of the day.
MIA, you go.
So standout player, I got Jeremiah Smith, receiver, Ohio State, the Ohio State University.
Yeah, your second team, you homer.
And he's
the second team. Shut up, Dan. Let him
talk. 6 receptions, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the only reason I'm really kind of highlighting him, and this is the second time he's gone off, and they've only played Akron and I can't remember the other team, but it was a lower tier team. He's a true freshman, Michigan. Dude. Yeah, he's a true freshman, and he had over 100 yards last week, 2 touchdowns. I think 1 or 2 touchdowns last week. So, if he continues this, oh my God, there's only tremendous upside for this. But it seems like Ohio State just pushes out receivers. You know what I mean? I don't know if development's good. I don't know if the recruiting's good or whatever. Obviously, recruiting's good. They reload.
Great. I mean, hell, their roster cost $20 million this year.
Yeah, so It's I think that's pretty impressive. And that's kind of where I'm going to go with is I tend to do that. I'm more impressed with the younger guys, the freshmen who come in and still make a big impact. So, which I think is huge.
Yeah, you like younger
Jeremiah
guys?
Smith.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Dan already hit mine, kind of.
No, I teed it up for you to present. You did so well. You had that stat line ready.
I'm ready. So, Ashton Gentry, Boise State, man. Oh wow, I haven't seen him play good since. Well, it's been a little while, right? Three rushing touchdowns, 192 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. Longest rush was 70 yards from line of scrimmage. That resulted in a touchdown. This is going up against number 6 Oregon. We talked about Oregon. Obviously, the defense is going through some woes, but you don't see that. Total stats of the year right now: 9 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Leads the country with 459 yards. Yeah, he's a little 5'9", 215-pound bowling ball, and he is an NFL running back if I've seen one, and that's helping Boise State raise that level of play. So every team that they're playing, they're gonna have to key on him, and hopefully they can stop him.
Yeah,
reminds me a lot of freaking what's his name? Andrick Estime from Notre Dame last year. Big strong back, and just reliable, man. You give him the ball, he's gonna take care of business.
For sure.
Take care of business.
It's good to see. Boise State's always nice to have them in the conversation, right, of being good again. That's one of those teams where you're like, college football is more enjoyable when they're good, and I think that's one of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
When that blue turf came onto the scene, especially after the Fiesta Bowl versus Oklahoma and everything, and just the whole storyline with that, and
crazy.
I found out that running back still lives in Boise, has 3 kids, and still is married to that lady that he proposed to there on the sideline. So good for him.
Ending, dude.
Man, that's some deep research. That's all kind of. You go hang out with them, or what'd you?
No, my golf bag. My golf bag is even Boise State, man. So I do follow the team quite a bit. But yeah, no, it's good to see. I love it. Another player, I can't remember who the hell he plays for, but he played Auburn last week. Noah Williams had 2 interceptions against Auburn and actually got the win, 21-14. Helped his team, and this is his 3rd interception of the season. So I just want to give a little shout out to him because beating a SEC team. I can't remember who played Auburn last week. Come on, where's it at?
Man, I actually didn't even follow. Auburn's like one of those teams where I haven't followed because they're like quietly doing well, or not doing well, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see like they pop up for the
California. Sorry, he plays for Cal. So Cal came to Auburn and whooped that ass. Well, respectfully whooped that ass. But all right, let's move on to the top 10. I'm gonna try to share my screen here. I don't know if this is gonna work, but yeah, we're gonna
shout out to Indiana Hoosiers for setting their record for how many points they put on a team, 77 over the weekend. So that's kind of nuts, even for an IU football team.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Closer to one of their basketball scores.
Right. Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Here we go.
I like it.
Ooh, fancy shit. What's up? All right, so this is the AP top 10 of week 3. Let's run through this, guys. I think I would say we all can agree the top 5 we're not going to touch, and we have no issues of where they stand.
I'm looking at my top 5, and it's exactly this. And like I already mentioned it earlier, 1, 2, and 3 are 1A, 1B, and 1C for me. So
I'll tell you the only thing I might change, honestly, is I might flip Miami and Oregon.
We're talking about top 5, Dan. But yeah,
no, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, the whole top 10 as a whole, I think I'm expanding a little further than Jordan. I think it's pretty solid. You could make an argument for Tennessee and Missouri flipping, and maybe Miami and Oregon, but overall, I think it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah, no, top 5 is exactly right. I think once you get past the top 5, if you go to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, that's where you can start you can interchange any of them for 6 through 10, and you're like, I could agree as well. Me personally, I've got Tennessee at 6, Missouri at 7, Miami at 8, Penn State actually down to 9, and then I have USC in 10 instead of Oregon. So I've got Oregon out just because 2 close weeks is enough to get you out there. But again, they can easily get it in with their schedule and
they're still 2-0. Yeah, they're still 2-0. No, I'm kind of with you. Same thing. 6 Tennessee, Miami. I got 7. I'm really high on Miami right now. They're taking care of business. 8 Missouri. I got Penn State 9, Oregon 10, and then obviously USC number 11. They're on the outside looking in. But no, I've been pretty impressed with the rankings so far this year. I can't really complain with them. They're doing pretty good, and I think they have a lot of leeway. Obviously, with this 12-team playoff, so I hope they're getting more fair rankings of this season.
You know
But
what?
but yeah.
Speaking of the top 10, like no matter how much college football changes, right? If it's the transfer portal, if it's, general, just traditional recruiting like it was, before, these teams are going to be they're going to find a way to be at the top, right? In the top 10, top 15, whatever it is, consistently every year. Good teams are going to be good because they have that traditional programs and they know what they're doing. You don't see a lot of teams come in and out. I mean, you had Washington in there, right? Number 2, and then fell out of the top 25. Like we're just like disappeared, which is crazy to me. But like you're going to see these teams, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, every other SEC team. You're going to see Big Ten teams. They're top heavy now. A couple ACC squeakers get in there and you're like, holy shit. And then they kind of fall apart because the ACC is what it is. But like, I you know what I mean? Regardless of how the rules change, what changes, recruiting doesn't matter. I think you're just going to see these teams adapt as they always do and just kind of continue that trend. So, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, you'll get some newbies that come in every so often and other teams disappear. But yeah, I think these teams you see right here are just always going to be present.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Yeah, you gotta be watch out, and then sometimes you get those little Notre Dames here and there, and this is why everyone calls them overrated every year because they're in the top 10 every single year, and then they find themselves out of it almost every year. Crazy to see. And then so speaking of Notre Dame, AP top 25, they're at 18.
They dropped a lot.
That's almost generous. That's almost generous. I wouldn't even put them in top 20. Honestly, at this point, I don't think they deserve to have that right now. Yeah, I'm upset with them. That's almost like putting your kid in timeout. Just, you know what? I think I'm more mad than you are, child. But damn it.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing they're going. Good thing it's going to be an away game this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because home would be more brutal. I feel like an away game is going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's kind of the tricky part of with the rankings too, right? Because this is still so early in the season, right? Notre Dame took a precipitous drop, but Northern Illinois, they're all the way up into the top 25, essentially from. I don't think that was even a thought in week 1 because they beat a top 5 team. The question really is though, was Notre Dame truly a top 5 team? You know what I mean? But that's how crazy of a switch up you can get in the top 25 as a whole when you have kind of like you said, maybe a fluke, right? Maybe Notre Dame was way too, overranked initially or whatever. I mean, it took a max. So, but that's my thing. So then you have Northern Illinois. I mean, it's like they jumped from nothing to in the top 25 for that one victory. Like I said,
unless you're into it, nobody really tracks outside of the top 25 of like who's 26 through 50. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying like I don't even think that they ever. I don't think they would have. You could have found somebody to give them one vote. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
week 1.
I got you.
But my thing is like I think that'll be again the question, and that's what you always have with rankings is, maybe we'll find out that over the course of the season it'll prove out that number 16, number 17, like they probably weren't that.
It always does. Yeah, and I agree. But
that's kind of the fun of the ride with it is really what it is. Is seeing how
Notre Dame more entertainment.
Right. Notre Dame though they are talent wise 100% a top 5 team. That's like one of the best defenses in the country, right? As far as talent goes, that's why Xavier Watts, I think, won the best defensive player of the year last year. Like I think that across the board, he had the most interceptions, I believe, last year as well. So I think there's no talent, but it's almost like they just believed all that shit was just going to be given to them, and then you get smacked in the mouth like
they thought they could walk out of that tunnel and say, "Hey, we are Notre Dame, and we have gold helmets. Check this shit out. We're ranked 5th in the country. We took care of business.
We have touchdown Jesus.
That's right. We got Jesus on our side. What's up?"
No, Notre Dame's loaded. They're loaded when it comes to like talent and NFL players. Yes. Like they absolutely are. So
their defensive line is to create Riley Mills, freaking was that DN, that number 9 kid? Like Jesus, like those guys are second day draft picks or even first rounds. So
yeah, they're fucking
it's
awesome.
crazy. I
can't.
I want them to
It's
turn it
just,
around really bad, but I'm really
yeah.
upset.
Even if you remove the fandom, right? So Notre Dame was and still is in a really good position. They win out against everybody else. They're in the college football playoff. Like, they just absolutely are. And I don't think that should be up for debate, right? I think you beat whatever USC is ranked or not ranked at the time. They still have a bunch of tough games for their schedule. So Notre Dame, I think, is looking good as long as they can figure it out. The only thing I want to see from Notre Dame is keep a steady, like, have a consistent, have a quarterback actually play more than just 1 year, come in, play 1 year, come in, play one year. So hopefully CJ Carr is the answer for that. It doesn't look like Deuce Knight is going to be staying committed to Notre Dame. He's probably going to transfer to, or decommit and then commit to Auburn. He was there 2 weeks in a row.
Right now, so we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Man.
He's still committed supposedly, but we'll see.
Yeah, see what happens.
And that's where we go back to Nebraska just quickly, just with Raiola, man. That is such a huge benefit for college football, is to have the quarterback, have your guy at quarterback, and just build around him. The problem is we're trying to plug and play everybody like an extension cord, and it's not going to always jive.
He true freshman?
True freshman.
That's wild to me.
You think he's 18 years old right now?
That's crazy. So absolutely crazy. But here's the other thing. Parity is good, though, for college football. Parity is so good for the sport and the entertainment and the upsets. If you remove yourself personally from your team, it is absolutely fantastic. And that's what the transfer portal, and I shout out to John again. I had this conversation with him yesterday, but like, that's what's good for college football. And that's what the transfer portal has brought to people, is that ability to, oh shit, I won't be starting on a Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Ole Miss team, but I can go to NIU, or I can go to an Illinois team, and I can actually play. And I'm going to, because I have the talent, I have that. And I just want to be able to show it, right? And you make an impact right off the bat. So that's what the transfer portal brings. And that's what I absolutely love about it. NIL aside, the transfer portal has been my favorite thing, of just the positives and the negatives that come with it. Unfortunately, I feel like Notre Dame's getting the negative side of the transfer portal when it comes to the most important position on the field at quarterback. But everything else
with Jack Cohen. That's where it started, man.
Everything else
plugged it ever since.
Yep, everything else is great.
My only and this is a quick thing with Notre Dame, is you're right about the transfer, but I just feel like they have struggled since I can remember back in high school. Like, I feel like they get real high on somebody as a quarterback prospect, but look how many of them pan out to nothing. I mean, you have Jimmy Clausen was terrible, or they do okay in college and then they immediately hit the pros and you find out they're not the tier that you would think or you were expecting coming in. I feel like, so they've just had a unfortunate streak with that position, be it transfer portal or not. And it's not to say that they're not doing their due diligence or whatever. It just seems like they've got, I don't know, call it, bad mojo or something working in their way, like where people that other schools probably would have gone and got highly too. It's just, for whatever reason, the ones they settle on, it's just something weird goes awry with them. Because you had, what was it, Deshaun Kaiser or whatever? I mean, okay.
Deshaun Kaiser, yeah.
He was okay, in my opinion. Like, he wasn't a world burner of a quarterback. You have Brady Quinn, who a lot of people were like, oh, great, except if it was anybody on the left side of the field, it might have well not existed because he can't throw across his body to the left. Jimmy Clausen, like I said, we know, he had his struggles. Jordan's favorite guy in the world, Dane Christ, he just had poor coaching staff around him, in my opinion. Jordan loved his.
Yeah, dude.
Jordan, let's see it. Let's see what's his clap.
You do this, and then you go. And then it'd be like, it's fucking irritated the shit out of me. But I want to actually touch on that, Dan. Back to your comments though, because and you have to understand that, and that might be the case because Jimmy Clausen was like the number one quarterback coming out of California, right? So it could come down to development for the position, right? And it's just kind of, here you're given the reins and we're not really developing you. It could be thrown into shitty situations, which a lot of those people has happened. Deshaun Kaiser was not thrown into a good situation. That's just is what it is. But you have to understand, though, there's not very many quarterbacks that come out and extreme impact in the NFL. Like, that's just not how it works, right? I don't know what the stats are for that, but even first round picks, they don't usually pan out nearly as often as they don't. You know what I mean?
There's more busts than
yeah,
we'll see.
I was more saying the ones that look good in college, that look like they could have the potential to carry it. You find that wall. And like you said, I mean, not to say that those quarterbacks that we mentioned wouldn't have, probably maybe not struggled at other schools. It's just crazy that like Notre Dame finally is like, hey, we, the number one guy is interested here, and it just seems to be like when it's their turn to get that guy. Like, when's the last time they had quarterbacks that were getting the kind of right, wrong, or otherwise media love or whatever that you would see of a Caleb Williams, of a CJ Stroud, of like these other guys that played at these other schools, where it seemed like even when they were playing poorly, everybody's like generational talent. It's like you just saw them play badly. Notre Dame, for whatever reason, they don't seem to get either the people or the shine when they do have people from the media.
Well, you think about it, Bryce Young, right? That's right, the Panthers.
Yeah, Bryce Young. Yep.
Bryce Young. I don't know why I was thinking Vince Young. But anyways, Bryce Young.
Another great quarterback.
Well, you think about it, everybody, even the experts, argue about that, right? Even the people who do this for a living are like, Bryce Young's going to be fantastic, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He's 5'11". Doesn't matter to me. But then you have people like us who are like, my gut's not telling me that's going to work out, right? Granted, it's all situation. You get to sit for a couple of years, like the Jordan Love stuff, like the Aaron Rodgers shit going on. Like that's a perfect like situation. But it's so high on people bringing in a brand new quarterback and okay, you're starting, go get him. And you're like, we're fucking 1-16 last year. Like, I don't want to play for this fucking team. Put somebody else in there. Let me sit. Let me get acclimated into the NFL, which is one of the hardest positions to play and the most important ones. So it's like, holy shit, that's just the experts get it wrong. That's crazy about it.
Well, and that's also the nature of the draft, right? Like the best prospects are going to always go to the worst, quote unquote, at least the year before, the worst teams. Like,
right. But that's the thing.
Cycle.
That's the thing. Best, right? You've had plenty of times where rounds like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 produce quality quarterbacks. So it's like it all depends on the situation, all depends on how you develop them and how you actually implement them into your system.
Yeah, but it's a chicken and egg thing, right? Like look at how many quarterbacks you could talk about. Like Justin Fields is a current one. People are like, could he if he's in the right thing? You had that with like RG3. You have all these people where they go, if he had have gone to a team with a XYZ, would he actually have been good? And it's like by the time you have those discussions, you're never going to know. Like it's an unknowable.
RG3 is injuries, but we can move on.
Yeah.
Whew. Me fired up on some QBs.
I know, dude. QBs piss me off as much.
Speaking
as
of QBs, Jordan, you keep alluding to something. Were you not pleased with your quarterback play from the Giants this week?
I'm here for the showrunner. If he wants to jump to the NFL, I've got some time to shit on some people. So
we will be, and we'll jump into the NFL here. I just want to touch on a couple of these games that are coming up this weekend to get the fans pumped up just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think an underrated game that not a lot of people are going to watch is going to be on Friday, 8 p.m. Number 20 Arizona going to number 14 Kansas State. Kansas State has a quarterback that everyone's all high on. Number 20 Arizona has that T-Mac receiver that was on the standout player of the week last week. And their offense is rolling right now. So I just figured that'd be a fun game to watch on Friday night when you got shit to do.
Dude, I dig some Friday night games, man. Keep them coming.
Late games too. Shit. Yeah. Kids going to bed. You just kind of keep your feet up. It's been a long week. Kicking it down, man. Beautiful. Beautiful. Does anybody else have a game real quick that they just want to kind of speak on and kind of speak out in existence?
I don't have a specific one. I can tell you Penn State's on the bye, so that's going to be kind of, like I said, a calm week for me. I don't know, Dan, who's Illinois got coming up? You got anything that specifically
when they play Central Michigan? But I think Missouri and Boston College might be a sneaky good game.
Yes, dude, Boston College is sneaky good, man.
Yeah, Missouri kind of again, they're quietly just outside the top 5. Like,
is their quarterback Brady Cook still?
Yeah,
so he was damn good last year too. So he's already in the system. He knows that he's ready to roll. Boston College has the the NFL coach from the Texans,
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien as their head coach over there. So it's pretty cool to see them kind of take care of some business.
They put the smackdown on Florida State too.
Oh yeah, that game's gonna be sweet. A lot of talk going to be about the Civil War. Number 9 Oregon going to Oregon State. It's going to be a test because this game's always heated and it always comes down to the wire. I don't think it's ever really been much of a blowout. So, Oregon, this week in practice, you better figure it out quick because I'd hate to see you guys go 2-1.
You know what? I got 2 games. They're noon games, but the LSU, I think this might be on another upset alert. I think LSU might be actually with South Carolina. Yeah, I think South Carolina 2-0 coming in.
Game day is going to be there.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
It's going to be a hell of an environment. Right at noon kickoff, so all the energy is going right into that stadium. South Carolina's going to handle some business, man.
Yeah, I think that'll be crazy.
It's a battle of the only SEC teams. They're 2-0 right now, so kind of get a good jump on the conference battle right there. It's a great game.
and kind of keep an eye. I don't know why Gut's telling me keep an eye out for that Wisconsin-Alabama game. I don't know why.
Yeah, I have a weird feeling too, man. I don't know. I'm freaked out about it.
Got asked wrong, but hey, let's figure it out.
When you said Wisconsin, it reminded me of something because I was going to say Wisconsin. I'm thinking they're that team again where you're kind of like, oh, here, Wisconsin's going to do the thing they always do. We didn't touch on it, but how did Iowa not Iowa football that Iowa game or what?
Oh fuck! They did.
Iowa themselves to a loss.
Yeah, they Iowa themselves to a loss. I told you what was I said? It's gonna be a couple field goals and a bunch of cloud of dust and a bunch of no points on the Iowa thing. I mean, they just find a way to be the most like I don't know vanilla bland like version of football.
You're right.
They struggle hard, man. They struggle hard. That's all I really got for the college side here.
Yeah.
A little bit of a down week compared to last week, I think, in some of the overall matchups.
But it was top heavy in this week. Obviously, there's a lot of drama just with everything that happened, the blowout, and then the Notre Dame loss really got the media's attention. It got our attention, obviously. But no, to wrap up week 2 has been great. Week 3 looks decent. There's not too many crazy games, but there's some games that could really make an impact in the future. So get your eyes on that. And this will wrap up the college football version of this podcast. We'll jump into the NFL on the next one. Guys, we'll see you on the next one.